Hi, everybody. This is the Nickie V. Smith Show. Today has been an awesome day, a day to get back to from healing. And I want to take a minute before I start the show. I want to do a shout out to all of the people that took time out of their busy schedules to check on me and to make sure that I was okay. And that starts number one with God. I thank you, God, for taking care of me because, boy, I was so sick, y'all. I've never been this sick in my whole life. And next to me was my cousin, Risa, who is on the show today. Let's stop for a minute, give her a hand. Come on, Risa.
Thank you.
Hey, Sugar Pie.
Thank you.
How you
Hey,
doing?
girl.
You know I call folks those sweet names, Sugar Pie, all that good stuff. So just go on with me. Risa took all of her time checking on me. I mean, every single day. I've never been so sick in my life. And her husband, Ed Wheat, I want to say thank you too. But here's two fellows that are really dear to my heart, other than Risa and Ed, and that's Wallace DeMaurier and Barnett Mays. Those are my sons. They checked on their mama. They, even when I was fussing at them, but they came through anyway. And I do appreciate the love. And here's another shout out to Miss Valinda Moore. Valinda, thank you. I know you called. I know I didn't answer the phone, but I couldn't talk. I was in so much pain. I just needed to rest. Nigel Smart reached out. Thank you, Nigel. Lawrence Anderson reached out. Thank you, Lawrence. And right now, I'm just going off the top of my head. It was a lot more, and I thank you all. And if I didn't call your name, please, please don't take it personal. I'm still in the healing mode. I'm not 100%, but I'd say I'm a good 85. And that is a blessing. Reese, that is such a blessing.
It really is. It really is.
I do want to say this to the people, Reese. Now, you have a right to take a shot if you choose to take these coronavirus shots. Some don't. Some don't want to take it because they're not sure of what the outcome's going to be in a year, 2 years, 3 years, and the fact that it can't cure it yet. This is a test. This is a trial test for the whole world. Mm-hmm. So if you don't want to take it, that's on you. I'm not going to badmouth you or jump on you or nothing like that. But I do pray that you do not experience that coronavirus, because people that have experienced it, it is a monster. When they say it's like the flu on steroids, they are being nice about it. It's like the flu on steroids 3 times 3 times 3. It's rough. So I would suggest that you may think a little differently, maybe check it out a little further, research it more, and give yourself a fighting chance, because a lot of people are getting it, Risa, and I understand that they're having it more than one time. But, and a lot of them have had the shots, and a lot of them haven't had the shots. However, some are saying that it made it easier for them with the shot.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Some are saying that. So guys, okay, that's my thank you. That's my shout out. I love you. I want to give you an opening kiss. Mwah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Isn't my cousin pretty? I just love her. She's so great to have with me and to push me through. And God pushed me through, because we had been off the air 2 weeks, and I kept saying, God, I need to push through this. Come on, man, get me out of here. And here I am. Here I am. You guys, today we're going to talk about a whole different subject. I'm sorry. I'm still working on that. We are going to talk about a new book that I have out. And we're going to tell you why I'm bringing this book on this show. And that's because it ties into the self-healing for sexual abuse survivors advocacy. The name of this book is Sergeant Benjamin Premier's and Family. Now, unlike can you see, Reese?
I can be still. There you go. There you go. That's good. That's good.
Okay.
Right there.
Now, the difference between the self-healing book and this book, the self-healing is 200% truth, based on 200% truth. This book was inspired by some true events, some true events. Now, the reason this book is being included in today's show is because it talks about how a community came out for this young man, for the family, and some of the military people that had served under Benjamin Premiers came out for his family when they were in need. There's 2 children involved, 2 boys. One of the oldest son has a genius IQ, okay? Young man with a genius IQ. The youngest son was born with a disability. This son is a beautiful kid, beautiful, but he's a special needs kid, okay? And this baby is 5 years old when this book was written. This book was written 12 years ago, 12 years ago. And when the story was told, I can't say when it was written, the kid was 5 years old. That's a misconception. However, when it was written, it was reflecting on when the child was 5. Now, the child's special needs are, he has a really small body frame. His body frame was not fully developed. So it looks like at that time, even though he was 5 years old and his mental clarity was developing at the right rate, the child looked to be at least anywhere between 1 and 2 years old. And he has a growth disorder. His mental clarity, sharp. The kid is sharp. But the husband, Sergeant Benjamin Premiers, as well as Mrs. Voletta Premiers, always discuss things together. And after test, after test, after test of trying to see how to help this child, they decided as a unit, as a family, to not put him through any more tests. He had been through so many tests, Risa, that it became torture almost to put him through any more tests. So the family decided not to, okay? But basically, here's the story, and I'm gonna do it in pieces because again, I want you to go and buy this book. This book now is available on Amazon.com. Let's get us good. Here we go. Okay. Amazon.com corrected the mistake they had made, and I appreciate them for that. 6, I want to say thank you to you because I know you took care of that. But it is there, Amazon.com, and it is much better priced now. It's called Sergeant Benjamin Premiers and Family by Nickie V. Smith. It ties into the rape advocacy because this little boy, well, let's back it up a little bit, okay? Sergeant Benjamin Premiers was in the military, in the Air Force. He died. He died. He was in Iraq, and he died. He died saving his platoon. Out of 30 people in his platoon, Risa, he managed to save 25. That's a big number.
Mhm.
That's a huge number. He was able to save 25 of his platoon members before he died.
Mhm.
And upon his death, there's something strange about this book. It makes me emotional. So just bear with me. And like I said, this book is based on some true events. But this book was written, I wrote this book so that it could be an action movie. And I'm still hoping, Risa, that some producer, some director pick the book up and make it a #1 best-selling action movie. It is an action, drama, thriller, all rolled into one story. Okay?
Well, Nikki, why don't you read just a little bit for us, and you got you got folks here who are interested. Why don't you, if you feel like it, read just a little bit to reel everybody on in, you
Okay.
know?
Okay. Um, I'm going to read the back of the book. How about that?
Okay, yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
short,
Okay.
and I want to get back to it. And well, that's a good suggestion. Thank you so much.
Well, I think
Uh,
that's why I'm here, right?
yeah, love you, girl. Okay, here we go. You are so fantastic. Don't ever think you're not. Okay, here we go. She always saves me. Sergeant Benjamin Premier's and family. The United States flag is given to the wife of Sergeant Benjamin Premier's. Sergeant Benjamin Premier's killed in Iraq was in the United States Air Force. Sergeant Premier's husband to Volette Nicole Premier's and father to Dante and Carl. Now that Volette's husband is dead, she is forced to move off of the military base. On the amount of income she will receive from her husband being in the military with 2 sons is concerned. I'm sorry, y'all. She is concerned about how she will be able to afford it. She takes a job as a secretary and moves to the inner city of Chicago. Dante, a gifted young man, soon to start college at the age of 16, will receive the benefits of his father's veterans pay. Carl is 5 years old with special needs. Carl was born with a growth disorder. Although his mind and clarity appear to be developing at the normal rate of a 5-year-older, his body growth is extremely small. Test after test was done while Sergeant Premier's was alive. Finally, the sergeant and his wife decided no more tests for young Carl. They were a strong family unit, Black proud Americans. Together as a family unit, the sergeant and his wife decided on family matters. When Sergeant Premier's wasn't on tour, he spent quality time with his family. He was a man of stature, well loved, well respected, and well missed. Upon the move to Chicago, unfortunately, gangbangers raped 5-year-old Carl Premier's, leaving him for dead. These terrible acts of terrorism and crimes against the Premier's family led Volette no choice but to reconnect with her martial arts background and to network with 25 members of an elite military special force team trained by her late husband, Sergeant premieres. Now, you got to think about this if you're a parent, even if you're not. You think about a 5-year-old kid being raped as a form of initiation for a game. Now, yeah, that's raw. And this kid was raped not by one, but several inductees to this gang banging group in Chicago. He was left for dead. But this baby's a fighter baby. This baby comes on back. But that community, baby, Mrs. Premiers, and you gotta think, she just lost her husband. And now you attack a child. But Risa, let me tell you something. They totally underestimated that woman. See, because she was small framed. So they just assumed nothing was going to be retaliated at all. But Mrs. Premiers was trained under Master Lee with her husband. When she met him, her father sent her there as a gift when she turned 18 years old. You'll see it in the book. Her father sent her there because he wanted a boy, but he was a captain in the Air Force as well. And he wanted a boy, but he loved his daughter. And so he wanted her well protected, you know, having seen all the things he's seen in this world, you know. So he sent her there because Master Lee trained him, her father. And by the time she got there, she met she called him his protege. She called Benjamin his protege. But Master Lee saw him more like his son, even though he was not his son. He took him in as his son because he was an orphan. And he took him in, trained him. Now, here's the kicker. She was trained right there with him. And she was just as tough. And she was small and agile and quick, like a cat, you know. But when she decided, she's a badass. She's a real badass, you know. I'd hate to be the one to underestimate a person like that.
I love it. I love it. Now, Nickie, you have set the scene, and I mean, you said that some of it is fictional, but some of it is based on real events.
Yes.
How were you able to even, pull it together to come up with these characters? And I mean, that's a tough subject to have a little one so brutally raped. How
Yes,
did
it
you
is.
do that as a writer? How did you separate yourself from what you were writing?
Actually, when I write, it's hard. I don't separate. It's hard for me to separate. I become the characters. I live through their visions. And that's what makes me, I'd like to say, a good writer on my way to being great. Because I live through their eyes. I live through them. Some would say I live vicariously through them. But I have to look at it from the standpoint as a mother, Risa.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody raping my baby, whether he was disability or disabled or not,
Mm-hmm.
would set my soul on fire.
Telling you, yes.
And you begin to wonder, what would you do? What would be too much? What would be too little? Where would you stop? Would you stop?
Mhm.
Or would you react at all? Some people might not react at all. Some people might just leave the scene and say, oh, well, hopefully the police will take care of it. But some people, you just can't. I'm going to use a street term, okay? You
Mhm.
just can't punk them down. You can't punk them down. You got to give them the room to deal with this and process this. And that's how, as a writer, I was able to deal with the different characters.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um,
What made you choose? What made you choose Chicago as your setting?
Chicago, everybody think they tough in Chicago. Everybody think they Al Capone. My oldest son used to love Chicago. I used to travel Chicago a lot.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I personally, I don't mean y'all no harm in Chicago. Please don't take it wrong. This is just one lady's opinion. Everybody there think they Al Capone. I don't care who they are. I don't care what their money status is. They think they're Al Capone. So I wasn't really a happy camper to be there in
Uh-huh.
Chicago. Woo, no. But my oldest son, I try hard to keep him from being across the tracks, and that's where he loved it. Because they be out there juking and having fun. Because he got it from me. I want to have some fun. I can't be real sad long. I can't be mad and all of that because something's gonna burst, And but now I can't. Reese, honestly, I can't tell because my place was New York. I love New York.
Mm.
Child, when I was growing up, I love New York because that's where I first got to introduce to plays
Mhm.
and introduced to shows and different things. But I never was in the poor part because I was in the Manhattan part.
Mhm.
But once I started I thought I wanted to live there. And I can believe it or not, I thought I wanted to live there and grow there. But honey, when I found out that economic system there, woo, when they $100,000, and this was way back when I was in my 20s, some 40 something years ago,
Mhm.
uh,
Mhm.
$100,000 didn't even put you in middle class at all.
Mm.
Yeah, that wasn't nothing. You were
Yeah.
just above welfare. And I was like, oh my God. So that kind of deterred me from it. But I
Uh-huh.
always liked New York because it has so many cultures and so diverse and
Mhm.
just, oh my God, you can be introduced to so much. And education is a high point
Uh-huh.
there. Mhm.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
Chicago, yeah, I really never really enjoyed my stay there. I was there a lot. So, nah. But my son did, and like I said, I couldn't be mad at him. So, but you gotta think now, little Carl, what do you think about that, Reese? I
I
mean,
I have I have a really, really hard time with little Carl being so brutally raped. And
yeah,
I just it's very, very difficult to process. And when I get into a book, I'm into it. So,
uh-huh.
you know, uh I read your first version years ago, so I'm gonna have to. I have to admit, y'all, I haven't got the new version yet, but I'm gonna get it. And the next time we're talking about it, I'm gonna have my book to show you guys. But I don't have it yet. But it's very difficult for me, and I get into, I get into my book and into my character. So when I read that, I was horrified.
Yeah.
And I was like, I believe I had tears running down my face, and I was like, I can't. This is
Yeah.
terrible. I hate this, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
It's hard
but
not to have tears running
yeah,
down your face. I wrote that book 12 years ago.
yeah, yeah,
And I have the same reaction every time. That's
yeah.
why I know, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I know it has the ability to be a #1 best-selling movie.
Mhm.
You know, I didn't know anybody at that time when I wrote this book. However, if I had known anybody, this book would have been a #1 bestseller. I believe that.
Well, there are people, you know, there are people who are writing books, and there are people who are writing movies, and you know, and directing movies, and you know, there are lots of good stories that need to be told,
Yes.
and we got a lot of good directors who are looking at uh, stories, particularly Black stories right now. You know, so it
Well,
may
that's good you said that.
well, it was, you know, might not have been the time 12 years ago, but
Yeah.
things are happening now. And who knows? Somebody may pick your book up and
I
turn
really,
it into you know, into a movie.
I
So,
really pray they do.
um, is there a sequel coming to Sergeant Benjamin Premiers? And
It's amazing you asked me that because that's the second portion of the goal for the book. Once, and the only reason is because I still got followers from this book from 12 years ago.
mhm.
They want to know, hey, is it a part 2? What happened to the kids? I
Well,
want to
see,
know. They
12 years ago, people want to know, you know,
Yeah, they
what's going
still want
on.
to know. And they still, I had a man from the military that wrote me from New York and told me, thank you for this book.
Hmm.
Now that first one had, as you know, I wrote that book in some real difficult times. I had, that was when that economic shift had taken place in 2009
Hmm.
and nobody knew it. And I'm a very private person, but I lost everything. I lost my home. I know you don't know this, but I lost my home. I lost my car. I lost my job because I had aged out in it and they could hire 3 people for what I was making.
Hmm.
And I started living in hotels and taking jobs, cleaning toilets and doing whatever I had to do just to keep a roof over my head. I lived in little motels for over a year and stuff, just trying to make it. Uh, and I wrote this book while I was homeless. And as I wrote this book, uh, they used to talk about Abraham Lincoln uh, wrote by candlelight. Well, hell, I got some on Abe. I wrote by flashlight. I wrote by flashlight, little flashlight. And at that particular time, I was sleeping on the floor of an abandoned building. Now, I didn't tell my children because they were outgrown. One was in California and the other one was uh, in Arkansas. Now he came, that boy there, you can't keep him away from his mom. He slept wherever I slept. Grown man, but he was waiting, trying to get his mama in the back on her feet. But my oldest was really pissed off at me because I wouldn't tell him. But you know, I tend to shut down, and that's one of the things I want to say about my survivors. Don't shut down. Let's open up. I'm gonna teach you how to open up because we have to open up to let people in so they can help us and so we can heal. But I don't jump track now. Let me get back to where we are because this is connecting this story with this advocacy since this child was raped. Okay. Um, I had lost everything, and so I was writing it, and I was in an abandoned building, writing a woman owned the building. She was renovating it. So
Mhm.
it wasn't like she didn't know I was there. She
Uh-huh.
allowed me to stay there while they were renovating it. Now I had to get up in the daytime and go away, but I was getting up anyway looking for a job, Reese. But I be right here, girl, with that light. Mhm. And I had a computer, and her keys kept falling out. I call them her teeth. I said, girl, put your teeth back in. Come on now. So it was a lot to this story.
Mhm.
And the first book had a whole lot of editing issues. I
Mhm.
soon discovered that afterwards, but it didn't stop the sale of the book. And I sold the book. I did it all. I didn't depend on Amazon nor Barnes and Noble because they were sold in both of them, but I'd buy in bulk and sell them myself and have book signings and different things. And let me tell you, uh, I have a following 12 years later for folks that have been following that story. And one lady in particular, her name, I'm gonna call her out. She calls herself Sunshine because her personality is that of sunshine. And she calls me her angel. And every time she came to visit me in Culver City when I did a book signing in Culver City Library, she bought a book. And then the next day, she come back with about 3 or 4 people. And she said,
Mhm.
this is my angel. This is my angel. Angel, I'm so grateful you came in my life. Well, she calls herself Sunshine, and she is following me today. So to get back to your question, Reese, that the second part of the goal, after it becomes a #1 best-selling movie, I want to do a series, a weekly series based on it, on the
Mhm.
book itself,
Mhm.
because um, like what's her name, Sharonda Rhimes did with Scandal and different stories, you know. But and the reason why, and she's not the only one, that was just the one that came to my mind
Mhm.
quickly.
Mhm.
However, yes, that's what I'm looking for, a sequel, because Sunshine has already approached me in the last 5 months about, do you have another book out? I want
Mhm.
another book. I
Mhm.
said, and what happened to the kids? Did they grow up? I want to know when they grew up, what they do. So I told her, we got a new book out, Self-Healing for Sexual Abuse Survivors. Oh, I want it. I want it. Whatever thing you write, I want you to get it to me. I told my kids about you. I said, okay. And she's just a real special follower. And I did have a man, a military man from New York, to write me and say, hey, you got a lot of mistakes in this book. That was the original one. And he
Mhm.
said, hey, but I'm willing to help you. I'm willing to help you correct these errors. And but most importantly, I want to say thank you because it's so well written that you talk about our 6. And I said, really? He said, I said, what did you like? He said, I like the way 6 is referred to as watching your back in the military.
Absolutely. Uh-huh.
He said that 6, we had to know that the person standing next to us got our back.
Mhm.
We had to know that you will be accountable if something jumps off. And we never knew when something would jump off. And when you're in a foxhole with them, you got to be accountable. You see what I'm saying? And he
Mhm.
thanked me for that. I was very shocked and very pleased. He was in the Army, even though Benjamin was in the Air Force. So, it reached a lot of people. I
Well,
sold $6,000 worth of books.
well,
That's how much.
my next question is going to be, so I got tons of questions, cousin.
Okay, that's what you for. Ask them, baby.
Okay, so where did you get your military expertise for the book? Did you talk to folks, or have you been in the military yourself? There's so much I don't know about you, cousin. So we're learning. So
No, Yes, we are learning each other because we were separated and never had an opportunity to grow together, but we're growing now. So that's what counts right now.
So that's it.
No, I was not in the military, but I was well trained in martial arts.
Mhm.
But I made first degree black belt. When I went into martial arts, I was 38 years old. I was an older woman, but I was a street fighter. I had to raise all 8 of my sisters and brothers, and I became a threat to myself. Um, I was afraid of self-destructing, and a lot of martial arts moves I had already learned from Yit Kendo, written by Bruce Lee.
Mhm.
Means open hands, means you don't have no weapon, but I could take you, and I could take you down without a weapon. And I fought men hard. I fought men harder than I fought women, but I'd fight anybody that come against my family. My sisters and brothers were my family. That was all I had to live for. Um, eh, um, I'm not proud of some of the things I did, but I had to survive.
Mhm.
And being 9 years old, 5 years old, when the dream started and ended, mother leaving, I'm a week from 8. I'm 9 years old. I'm a hustler. I'm fixing folks' hair in the project. I had to be tough. And look at me. I mean, I'm very fair skinned. And so living in the projects and being fair skinned, it was almost like a wow, a no-no. So I had to fight all the time
Mhm.
because I had a lot of sisters and brothers that couldn't fight for themselves, couldn't fence for themselves. And I learned how to do it. I became I'm a nice woman. I'm a nice lady. I'm sweet, I'm loving, I'm nurturing, I'm happy-go-lucky. But it used to not be a middle ground with me, cousin.
Mhm.
You either were or you weren't. There was no middle ground. And if
Mhm.
you violated any space with any of my sisters and brothers, that was it. That was it for me.
Mhm.
Uh, it was it for me. I was a very dangerous young woman. And it was so bad that at one time I actually thought that I could be a good mafia mama. I did. That's how bad it was. I thought I'd be a great mafia mama
Hey, that
until
sounds like another book too.
it does, doesn't it? It
Yes, it
does.
does. Yes, it
It
does.
does. But now, answer to your question, I was never in the military, but I was always fascinated by the military.
Mhm.
I was always fascinated by the work they did and for them to give their lives to protect others. Now, some went in there to keep from going to jail.
Mhm.
Hey, you do what you got to do in order to do what you want to do. So you do what you have to do. I stole that from the Great Debaters, the movie Great Debaters. But
Good
you do
movie.
what you have to do in order to do what you want to do. And some of those guys went in there to keep from going to jail, especially young black men. That wasn't Benjamin's case. Benjamin was a highly intelligent young man, but he had no family, nobody to help him, and Master Lee took him in.
Mhm.
Because Master Lee was such a well-known person, Master Lee trained people, special forces, everybody that was like CIA, people that did for the military, people that did for the president of the United States. So when you were trained under him, you had a military type training. That's what I could say. Um, yeah, that's what I can say. And so no, I wasn't in the military. I was a street fighter. And then I needed to um, discipline myself before I
Mhm.
self-destruct.
Sure. Yes.
So I went into martial arts. I'd already been learning a lot from Yit Kendo, Now I started that early. That's what gave me the edge on the street fighting, you
Mhm.
know, because I practiced every single day by myself. Nobody knew it. I managed to sneak away from my family and do that. And or I do it while he was there because I learned to fight how by myself through Bruce Lee. And then I'd execute it on the streets so I could live. And then after that, at 38, I decided that I needed to help myself. I was 37, about to turn 38, and I was on a path of self-destruction. So I went into a school, and I'm going to be very selective about what I say and what I don't say. But
Mhm.
I went into a martial arts school and I started training. And I had the opportunity to meet Master Lee, but Master Lee would he would frustrate the hell out of me back then. You lit legs. I said, what? You lit legs. And I said, what is lit legs? And uh, he'd say, excuse me, you know, excuse me. He'd say, you try to muscle with your hands. Your hands are fast, but you try to muscle your way through the wood, and you can't muscle through the wood. And he said my legs were heavy. He was calling me lead leg
Legs.
because after so long, I'm not a kicker. My legs get tired. My legs would get tired. So he wanted me to understand, know your strength, know how to balance that. Your strength is in your hands. You are fast like a cat. I even taught my son, and my oldest son's used to be fast like a cat. He frustrates the cat. But let me get back on track. He would say, Master Lee would say, I'm land legs, and that my strength was in my hands. When my legs give out, learn to balance that. And don't come up against a kicker without knowing their strength. If they're a kicker, learn how you watch them, and then you know how to counter. You see what I'm saying? So he started putting me in water and helping me to balance, and running against the currents and different things. And you know what? I can't even swim. Ain't that something? I can't swim. But I would get in that water as long as it didn't come no further than this,
I hear
run
you.
and run and punch. But one of the things I never learned, and he didn't like, because I couldn't calm down. Fear had been so ingrained in me. I couldn't calm down. I never learned to master my heart rate. I never learned that. I should have, but I never did. I get really, when I used to go in the ring, I would get really scared, and I would hurt you, even if it was just a tournament. And then I'd explain it away by saying, I ain't studying no tournament. I don't care nothing about no tournament. And I didn't care about the wood because I couldn't break for a long time. The wood hadn't done nothing to me. You know, the tree, the wood hadn't done a thing to me. So I couldn't get that in my head. And it was it's mindset. How do you think? See, you got to learn to change that. That's like playing chess. You have to learn to think differently, out of the box. You have to learn to think in a winner's position. But martial arts, real martial arts, was not made for you to go and bully people.
No.
It was not made for you to mistreat people with.
Right.
It was made for you to self-defense only if you can't walk away.
Mhm.
If they will not let you walk away, then that is when you have to make a way.
Mhm.
And if you can walk away, that is what was taught. Okay.
Mhm.
And so I learned a lot of the military moves. In fact, I trained with a lot of people that were in military.
Mhm.
I like for them to come in and tell me that they were Marines or whatever, because I was a street girl and I didn't mind, bring it. But anyway, that was then and this is now, and I'm no. So I hope I answered your question. I went all around the mulberry bush, but either way it goes, no, I was not in the military,
Mhm.
and but I had the pleasure of learning how to not self-destruct through my martial arts. That's all I can say about that.
Good, good, good.
Okay,
You,
good.
you.
And so I had to combine both. And
Mhm.
now, but I want you guys to think about this now. You got a kid, and this is something that's happened to him. You don't know what you'll do. You don't know where you'll go. You don't know what's too much. So it's not easy to uh, say what you would do. You don't know. And you pray that you're never in that type of situation. Because I became a very destructive young lady when it comes to my family. And I held on to that when I was grown. If you attack my sisters or my brothers, it wasn't no forgiving for me. So some of those things carry on with you. But either way, I hope I've become a better person now. That's all I can say. Yo, Reese, I love you, baby. But we got about 15 minutes left. It's 1:04. I know you
Mhm.
have a flight or something to take. So we're going to ask you again, please buy the book. Support Black families. Support all families that are trying to make a difference. This community came out. Sergeant Benjamin Premier's and family was a very impressionable man. His wife was a very impressionable lady. His kids are very impressionable, and things have moved forward. So buy the book. Amazon.com is doing me a real solid right now. They're doing so good. They did so well fixing this problem. And I have a friend I call Six. I don't. No one needs to know who that is. That's my private world. But I say thank you for resolving that, Six. You know who
Mhm.
you are, and that means you had my back. And was he entered my life through my sixth sense. I'll put it like
Right,
that. Yeah,
right.
my sixth sense pretty sharp. But so
And
what were you about to say, Reese? I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, and don't forget about this book.
Yeah, I love this lady
Y'all don't
because
forget
that's
about.
where you want to heal from. Go with it.
So you have two books that you need to buy by Nickie V. Smith. Okay, they are both uh, they're both very hard, but rape is very real, and rape happened to Nickie, and she is surviving, and she wants you to survive too. So don't forget about this book.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Thank you. Thank you. We want to do more than surviving now. We want to thrive. Let's go forward. Let's grow. Let's be mighty. Let's don't let them keep conquering and beating us. Because I'm an old woman now. I'm not old.
You're not that old.
No, I'm like fine wine. I'm just aging like good fine wine because I'm 68, but I'm so grateful to be in the position that I'm in now. I am. I'm not angry. I'm not bitter. I don't gossip. I don't lie. I'm pretty happy-go-lucky, aren't I?
Yeah.
I am. And I love serving others and helping others. Nobody would have thought after all of that, I'd be happy to help others. But I love it. I love it. So the advocacy is we're going to be doing a event, some paid events soon, which will allow you to get your tickets and everything that we raise. This is a fundraiser to help build advocacy so that we can have coaching classes, one-on-one groups, and speaking events. So we're working on that. It's a slow process with the government, and we're in their mercy, at their mercy, and we have to just do it their way, you know. But it's moving forward. It's moving forward. I'm so pleased to say that. But in the meantime, you guys, please get your book at Amazon.com. You can get an ebook of both books, and you can get a paperback copy of both books. And if you want an autographed copy, you can always get an autographed copy through books by nvsmith@yahoo.com. Again, that's books by N as in Nancy, V as in Victor, Smith@yahoo.com. And we'll be happy to send you out an autographed copy. Now, I'm glad to feel better. I'm still battling this illness, but I'm a tough old bird. I don't give up easy, and neither does my cousin. That girl stuck with me every single day and made me come out of my shell. Reese, you didn't know that, but you made me come out of my shell so good that I am talking to Risa. Well, we're in business together now, the advocacy, but I talk to her almost every day, and I've never done it in my life, and I enjoy it, you know? So that's a whole new ball game for me, you know? So thank you for that. Thank you very much. And thank you for coming on the show today. I'm going to go ahead and give them their kiss because it's time for us to go. She has a plane to catch. So Reese, let's kiss them out of here.
All right, girl.
Mwah! Thank you all for
All
watching
right,
the
everybody.
Nickie B. Smith Show with Risa Wheat and Nickie Smith. We thank you from our whole heart, not the bottom of our heart, but our whole heart. We'll see you next week. Thank you again for your time and for your loyalty and your love of checking on me while I was sick. Goodbye.
Bye, lady. Take care of yourself.
You too, and have a safe trip. Okay?
Thank you.